what can you do to help with our children?
Well, I mean, you know, but when my uncle was president, 6% of Americans had chronic disease, and today 60% of our kids have chronic disease. So 77% of children, of American teenagers, are too sick to qualify for military service. That's a national security issue. The autism rates have gone from 1 in 10,000 in my generation to 1 in every 34 kids today. In California, it's 1 in every 22. And the diabetes rate, when I was a kid, diabetes, a typical pediatrician would see 1 case of diabetes in an entire 40 or 50-year career. Today, 1 out of every 3 kids who walks through his office door is diabetic or pre-diabetic. Those are just 2 diseases. And the cost of treating chronic disease has gone from 0 when my uncle was president to $4.3 trillion. The biggest item in our budget is 5 times our military budget. Is killing our country. It's destroying our children. And we know why it is. It's from toxic exposures, and that's mainly in the food and pharmaceuticals. Our food, the ultra-processed food, which we are pumping into our kids, which is the cheapest food. It's the food that goes to the food stamp program. It's the food that goes to the school lunch program. We are systematically poisoning the poor in this country and poisoning our kids. And, you know, there's a direct connection. There's very strong science. And then there's a huge subsidy system that is driving it so that everybody is making money. The most profitable thing in our country today is a sick child. And you have the food industry making them sick, and then the chronic, and then the pharmaceutical industry profiting. If you have a kid with chronic disease, like diabetes is a lifetime customer of very, very expensive interventions. Ozempic costs, I think, is it $1,500 for the, you know, $1,500 for treatment. Right now, 74% of Americans are obese. There's a bill before Congress that is being paid for by the company, lobbying by the company that makes Ozempic, Novo Nordisk, the biggest company in Europe. And they've got Republicans and Democrats now signed onto this bill that would make Ozempic available for every American who's obese. The cost of that alone will be $3 trillion a year. Wow. So, and that company in Denmark, where that company is from, Ozempic is not recommended as the primary intervention. They recommend diet and exercise for diabetes. And in Europe, nobody's going to take it, but their entire wealth of that company is based upon their ability to pass this bill and get it. And if we took that $3 trillion, a third of that, we could buy organic food 3 meals a day for every man, woman, and child in our country, and there would be no diabetes.
Wow.
And that's, you know, that's true across the board. You're solving the symptoms rather than dealing with the problem.
Right.
And we're subsidizing the food that we're poisoning kids with. That's where all the GMO corn receives 90% of the subsidies, GMO canola.
And what's in our soil.
Yes.
And it's destroying our soil. The floods that you see now in Iowa are because there's no microbiome left in the soil. Wow. So it can't absorb water anymore. It's wiping out everything that's good about our country and commoditizing everything we care about.